Hi, everyone. My name is Karen Schaps, and I wanted to welcome you to the middle school. I have your child for sixth grade science in room 109, and I'm super excited to be teaching the regular way so far this year. I hope we don't have to return to concurrent teaching, but it's very nice to see everybody in class, and I hope they're happy to be here. My main goal this year is to make sure your child feels welcome and comfortable. It's been a long haul, and we want everyone to get back on track and be very successful. So please know that's my main goal, and I'm here to help you or your child, whoever needs help. For me, I grew up on Mercer Island. I first taught at Pine Lake Middle School, and then I was hired here by my sixth grade teacher. So that was a pretty interesting experience. I have taught here a number of years, and I really have a ton of energy, and I still enjoy it. For sixth grade science, I wanted to do a couple things. I want to share with you my expectations. I wanted to go over some resources that might help you help your child, and then go over the units that we're going to study so that you know what activities are at home and what are at school and what you can do to help your child. All right, so the paper that I'm going to show you first was sent home, and supposedly you've already seen it because you signed that you saw it. But I'm going to go over a little part of it anyway. The first part has to do with supply lists, and that's honestly the biggest change for sixth graders, not having the teacher have the supplies in the classroom for each child. So when it says these are what they need to bring every day, they really do need to bring their notebook, paper, pencils, eraser, glue, iPad every day, and of course, a positive attitude. One thing that's not on the list that I think would be nice to add is an iPad pencil. And I know it's something that costs you at home, but honestly, we're using the iPad more and more. People are writing on Notability and different apps. And this kind of pencil makes such a huge difference for people. It makes their work faster and neater. And it's something that I've discovered will be used in high school and college as well. So this is not an Apple Pencil, it's a knockoff. It was around $20. So there's many choices between $20 and $30, and they work very well. They have a fine tip, so writing is easy, doing math is easy, taking notes is easy. I'd highly recommend it if your family can afford it. You just need to make sure that it works with an iPad 6 and that it has the palm rejection feature so that when they set their hand on the top of the iPad, it doesn't smear their work. Okay, so keep this in mind, maybe for a gift or special occasion coming up, but honestly, it can make a huge difference for people. All right, so your child needs to bring their supplies. They have to supply all their supplies and have them with them every day. For grades, this year is really a huge transition year for sixth grade science. Our whole school is moving to equity-based grading and standard-based grading. So the sixth grade science group is still using letter grades. However, we are only grading quizzes, tests, and final projects. So those homework grades and things like that are not counted in the semester grade. I will put some on Skyward as a no count so people can see that their child is or isn't doing their homework, but really the final grades will be based on final summative assessments of some sort. Okay, so you got to check Schoology often, and that's your child, but it also helps with the adult checks. So if there's anybody being absent, they need to check Schoology. If they've gone to class and they leave class, they should check Schoology maybe during Gator time at the end of the day, definitely when they get home or sometimes in the early evening, because sometimes teachers add things. They forget to post something during class and they post it after school. So it's really helpful if your child double checks each class in Schoology after school. If you checked too, it would be very helpful because we use Schoology all the way through middle school and high school. And as you learn to use it and sort of help your sixth grader, it's going to pay off for you in the future that you'll be helping less and less, and that's a good thing. All right, so your child will check Schoology if they're absent. They should ask their table partner for clarification, and then they should talk to me. Best time to get me is before school. Right? Or they can email me at karen.shops@mercerislandschools.org. right? If they're wanting to retake a test or quiz, I will try to offer a specific day and time that that is offered. If it doesn't work, they need to make special arrangements with me, but all retakes need to be taken within 2 weeks of the initial quiz or test so that they don't get further and further behind. All right, my classroom expectations are, I expect of the kids what I expect of myself. I'm not on my phone, they're not on their phones, right? I come to class prepared, they come to class prepared. I use respect with them and with everything that's in the room, and I want them to also. I want them to be good listeners, and I want to be a good listener, right? So I try to model the behavior that I'd like to see. I want them to be curious. I want them to ask questions. I want them to feel comfortable. So please help them do that. For homework, they just get little bits of homework often. It's not every single night, but the little bit of homework is to build up their stamina and it's to build up their habits. So it might be a little bit of reading or something to get signed or something to review. This weekend, it was to start their research on their solar oven. So they always have a little something to do at home. And how you can find that is to check Schoology, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. Before we go on to that, though, I did want to say that there is Homework Center offered Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. It is run by a couple adults. It's in room 301 from 3 to 4 p.m. And it's a great opportunity for your child to get some extra help or have a quiet place to do homework. If they go, they stay that whole time, and then they can be either picked up or they can take the activity bus home. So here's a little picture of somebody studying. This is up in the room so they can see this, and I will also keep reminding them that it's available. Okay, so before we go on to the units, I wanted to show you how you can look at Schoology and help your child. Also, if they're absent, I want to show you where they might need to look so that they can see what they're doing. This right here is a student view of Schoology. First, I would highly recommend that the student goes in by course. If you try to look at the calendar or something and it's all the classes together, it truly gets overwhelming. You can see that this says science, and the first tab is materials. All the homework and all the resources are always posted on this materials page. This year, I decided to put everything in weekly folders. The newest folder will be on top. So as you scroll down, you'll see things from earlier in the year. So you can click on the weekly folder and you can see the things with the pencil and paper are assignments. I'm trying really hard to make it clear what is submitted. So I'm putting the date and I'm putting the word submit in capital letters. So it's first thing, it's what they see. There may be other resources embedded in the homework. So in this case, there's the solar oven project PDF that we went over in class, which they're working on. And then there's a link to solar cooker resource website. So it's always a good idea to click on the homework and make sure that you can see any attachments or links. In addition, I've put a lot of things outside the homework so that they're listed there and they're easy to find, right? And you can scroll down and see what we've done during the week. So again, the oldest things are on the bottom, the most recent things are on the top of the folder. If a person is absent and it's ongoing, I will write a brief blurb in the updates for that person or people what to do. So here is an example. If they're absent today, do this and this, read these pages. Again, this is a little information about what to do, but if you click on the materials page and you go into this week's folder, you will see the pages of reading that they need to do. They have their own book, but if for some reason they don't have their book, here's an example. I attached PDFs of the pages so that they can always do their homework, no matter where they are, if they have their iPad. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that you're familiar with Schoology. honestly, taking a few minutes to click around will help you. On the kids page, I'm not sure why it's not showing up. It's maybe because I'm in a folder. Let's see. Up here on the right side, it will say upcoming. You will see the pencil with the paper, and that's a homework assignment that's due. Not everything that they've missed will show there. If it's already gone by the date that it was due, it won't show that it's upcoming. So in that case, you might want to click on the calendar, and then you can see what was due on different dates. And seeing it by class is much easier than seeing all 6 classes together. So again, I strongly recommend going in by class subject and not all 6 classes together. All right, I hope that was helpful. And we're just going to take a few minutes to talk about the units for science so that you can see some examples and know what I expect. We're going to have a little combination of reading, of labs, of hands-on activities, of final projects, of regular tests and quizzes. So it's quite the conglomeration. At the end of each unit, they will have some sort of choice assessment. But of course, we want people to choose different kinds of assessment every time. So there may be fewer choices and they pick between 2 or 3, not 9 or 10 choices. Right now, we're talking about solar energy and your kids' at-home project, just making a solar cooker. So I showed several different examples of box cookers. I always do show examples. I didn't have examples of other types of cookers, but they're welcome to make a different kind. When I show an example, I try not to show a perfect example. I try to show examples of things where they could make improvements. But anyway, they will make a box cooker. Takes a couple hours to make a good one. And then they'll bring it to school in a couple weeks and we will use it 3 days at school. And then they take them home. So hopefully they'll arrange transportation with you. Anyway, from the cooker, they're going to explain to me what they've learned about conduction, convection, radiation, absorption, insulation, everything that we've been learning about. So I don't actually grade the cooker. I grade what they tell me about the cooker, like what feature did they include and why did they do that and how did they choose this design and what could they improve. So it's more the evaluation of it and showing me that they understand it. We're also going to do the first chapter of the science and tech book. And by the way, your child will get 4 different textbooks, and these textbooks are awesome. They are written in a grade level way with very comforting pages. There's pictures, there's graphics, there's little spots where they ask the student to stop and answer a question or give some feedback. And it's a great way to learn the curriculum that has a lot of vocabulary. So please make sure you see these books at home and that they're using these. And in addition, at the end of each chapter is a special page called the study guide. And on that page, it shows you the key ideas and terms. So if they have done the chapter and read it and you want to quiz them on this, that's a great thing. There's also a practice test in the book. So they have a lot of resources right inside this book. And we're going to use 4 different books. We do not read the whole book. We just read a chapter to 2 out of each one that fit with our units. But the books are theirs to keep and write in. All right, so we will talk about science and tech. So what are the engineering principles? How does a person set up an experiment without bias? How do they record information? How do they share that information that's in a clear way to people? So there is a lot of math involved. There's a lot of analyzing data, and we just do the best job we can with that. We will do ecology and the environment, but we may not do it next. If we can get eco-column support going to purchase the supplies we need and the availability because of COVID, we might have to wait until spring to do that. But it's an eco-column where they have a terrarium and an aquarium, and they really make the connection of how things flow into each other in the real world, like things from the terrarium actually flow into the aquarium and affect those living organisms. We might have a guest speaker from Triangle Associates. They come out and speak to us about the conservation of resources, and they do a really good job. For the sound and light unit, that's your second home project. So after the kids learn about waves and how waves travel and how we hear and how we see, then they make a musical instrument, and they need to make it so that it plays 4 distinct notes, and they can play a song that they've practiced for the class, and then they can explain how that musical instrument actually makes music. So this is an example of one. This is a harp. This was not expensive to make. People use home materials, they recycle, they repurpose. This is a piece of bamboo. These strings are fishing line. You have some eye hooks here and several layers of cardboard connected with tape, right? And this one during its day sounded very good. The eye hooks allowed them to tighten the strings and tune them. They were different lengths, so they played a very nice song on this harp. It looks simple and it's simple materials, but it played the notes very well and it's sturdy. This one is a pan flute. They are fun to build and a lot of people build these. Again, it's just PVC pipe, a way to connect the pipes, some corks, right? The difficult part of this is filing off these and making them level, spacing them so that a person can actually play the notes individually instead of accidentally blowing into more than one tube. And then the effort it's going to take to practice this and play the whole note, not just a column of air vibrating softly. It has to be the nice loud note. So these are fun. They like the pan flute. In addition, I brought out a tube guitar. This looks as simple as can be. It's a very sturdy tube with a can and 3 lines of fishing wire. However, over time, the wires have gotten loose, and attaching them at each end is the tricky part. You've got to make it so that they're really stiff and they make a nice sharp sound, but then there's also got to be a way to tighten them as they loosen up. So it's not as easy as it looks. It looks like you could do this in 20 minutes, but really attaching the lines is tricky. So the projects are a step above elementary school. We're not doing cans that they're banging on. We're not doing jars full of water, nothing like that. They're stepping up their game and making an actual musical instrument. After that, we will do RoboLab. We are assigned to the spring, so my classes will be doing it in the spring. They will share a kit full of Lego pieces. They will have an EV3 robot base, and we will learn how to program the robot and how to get it the attachments and the sensors to perform certain tasks. When they're done with that, they're going to make their final product they'll change their EV3 in a way that it performs a task that solves a problem. And then the real joy is presenting it to parents because they've worked so hard on it. We're hoping to have parents in person at our open house next spring, but of course with COVID, we'll have to see if that happens. If we're not allowed to have parents in, we will videotape the final projects and post them so parents can see. The Force and Energy book is the biggest, densest book. It also contains the electricity and magnetism unit. So with electricity and magnetism, we have hands-on great labs. We also make an electricity board, and they really understand what is a conductor and what is an insulator. For forces and energy, we talk about speed, acceleration, work, Newton's laws. So it's pretty math heavy, and I really try to help the kids with that as best as I can. We do have a lot of hands-on activities with that, but they also find it to be one of the harder units. The Science World magazine, we have decided not to ask the parents to buy this year because things are just too uncertain, and we have several issues left from last year when we couldn't distribute them. So we're going to use our last year's issues with this year's kids, and just like once a trimester, it will be a nice little break from our units, and we'll talk about science in the news and things that are current in science in a way that fits 6th graders, right? So I think that's it. I will be sending out a link to you. If you have any questions, you can write them down there and I will respond to you. You can also email me at karen.shops@mercerislandschools.org, or you can call my classroom. It's 206-230-6109. Again, I really look forward to making this year a great one for your child and hopefully you too. And please contact me if you have any questions or concerns. It's very exciting. All right, take care. Bye.